I witnessed one of the greatest things ever as a sporting fan, watching us beat City 4-1 at the Alvalade. But you'll still have people say, it's only the Portuguese league. You can have Porto win the Champions League in 2004 and also win the Europa League in 2011. And people will still say, oh, it's only the Portuguese league. You'll have Benfica go toe-to-toe with giants and have an academy of which players go on to be some of the best footballers in world football. And people will say, it's only the Portuguese league. And last but not least, you'll have the Portugal Euro 2016 squad made up of many players, not just from Sporting, but from the Portuguese league in general. And you have people say, it's only the Portuguese league. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Sam for a second. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm not really talking about Ruben Amorim to Man United or Man United about Ruben Amorim, anything like that. I want to talk specifically about what I witnessed last night and what I heard before last night around Sporting, around Gyökeres, around the Portuguese league in general, and only for it to once again prove the masses wrong. You can say I'm a lot of things, some of them good, some of them bad. You might say I have bad ball knowledge, you might say I don't know what I'm talking about, you can call me ugly, you can insult anything. But the one thing you cannot argue, and that is my passion for Portuguese football and sporting mostly in general. And just football in general, I suppose. But being brought up as a sporting fan, I've got to see some lows and I've got to see some highs of pretty much other teams in Portugal. But now, recently, in terms of highs of sporting in football as well. As we're recording last night, we beat Man City 4-1. And it looked like it was going to be an absolute demolition from Man City in the first 5 minutes. But Ruben Amorim's men turned it around. But that is the epitome of Ruben Amorim's sporting side. We'll fight anyone, we'll go toe-to-toe with anyone, and we'll give anyone a game, especially at home at the Alvalade. But you're still going to get people say, I don't know if Amorim will correlate to the Premier League. And you have people saying, I don't think Gyökeres can cut it in the Premier League. But you'll have people say, Islam Slimani, Bas Dost, Ricky van Wolfswinkel, Darwin Núñez, Vincent Abubakar, Gonzalo Ramos, Mehdi Taremi, Moussa Moregan, Carlos Vinicius. Nothing against Viktor Gyökeres, but any hype for a striker coming out of Portugal has to be taken with a pinch of salt. You gave me a list of names, so let me give you a list of names back. Ruben Dias, Bernardo Silva, Ederson, Mateus Nunes, Bruno Fernandes, Luis Diaz, Diogo Jota, Rafinha, Rafael Leao, João Cancelo, João Palhinha, João Neves, Chico Conceição. The list goes on. And of course, those aren't strikers. There is an arrogance of, you hear all the time, especially as a Portuguese league fan, of they're only doing it in Portugal, you know, until they get to the Premier League, the be all and end all, you know, it doesn't matter. And of course, I can see that the Premier League is one of the best, if not the best league in football. It's the most competitive, but also it is a league that translates well a lot from Portugal. Some of the players I've listed there, but of course, if you look back even further, you've got guys, of course, Cristiano Ronaldo, Luis Nani, Ricardo Carvalho, Pepe playing for Real Madrid. So many great names who have come through Portugal and are now in the Premier League, but you still have the same people say, oh, it's only the Portuguese league, it's a farmers league. I just watched a sporting team in a farmers league beat the best team in England and the best team in the world for at least the last, 5-6 years, and beat them 4-1. But a few years back, we beat Arsenal 2-2. Well, I say beat Arsenal 2-2, we won on penalties. The game, we drew to them twice, and at that point, they were the best team in England. They were first, they were 10 points clear of Man City. And Ruben Amorim, a sporting team who were fourth, by the way, not third, not second, not first, fourth in our worst season in about 5 years. We managed to beat Arsenal on penalties, hold them to a draw both times. In that same season, we beat Tottenham's undefeated streak when they were under Antonio Conte. I think they were undefeated for 2 months, and we beat them 2-0 at the Alvalade. We also beat reigning champions of the Europa League, Frankfurt, in the first game as well. And now let me talk to you about the man who is going to be right there, Viktor Gyökeres, one of the best strikers, if not the best striker in the world right now. And, you know, that might be an exaggeration, might be hyperbole, but look what he did to that Man City team. A hat-trick against some of the best defenders in the world, against one of the best teams in the world. But people still say they watch him against Estrella score 4 goals. He scored a poker the game before. And I remember saying, wow, he's not going to do that in the Premier League with defenders defending like that. Or, you know, the defenders aren't as good as they are in the Premier League. And then he does that to the team that's currently top of the table. Scores a hat-trick in the biggest stage, on the brightest stage of them all. And he's been scoring in the Champions League against teams like Lille, Sturm Graz. He scored against Atalanta. He scored against Benfica. He scored against Porto. And of course, he scored against all the other teams. A fun fact for you is that Viktor Gyökeres has only not scored against one team in the Portuguese league, and that's Estoril. Every single other team in that league he has scored against. And his stats are absolutely phenomenal. In 67 appearances for Sporting, Viktor Gyökeres has scored 66 goals and got 19 assists. Do you know how crazy that is? And again, people say, oh, it's only the Portuguese league. Porto went to the Emirates last year and couldn't score against Pepe, couldn't score against Pedro, couldn't score against Otavio, Wendell, Zaidu. Gyökeres has done that 4 times. Otamendi won the World Cup with Argentina. 6 months later, Gyökeres arrived. And he has scored twice against that Benfica team, as well as got an assist in 4 appearances. And I mentioned it earlier, the best team in the world scores a hat-trick. So is it a defensive issue? Is it, Gyökeres just playing against farmers in a farmers league? Or can we finally admit that Gyökeres is an actual great striker? His release clause is 100 million. But if you ask me, that is a bargain. If he is going to average a goal a game, pretty much, and he is going to make chances for himself, create chances for himself. You saw it yesterday. All they have to do is boot up the ball to Gyökeres and he can make a chance out of thin air like that. His runs are phenomenal. His physicality is phenomenal. His finishing, even though he tried that stupid chip for whatever reason in the first half, is phenomenal. His essence, his ego, his aura is all phenomenal because Viktor Gyökeres is phenomenal. 100 million euros is what it's going to take to get him from Sporting. That's about 85 million pounds. And when you look at the top 10 transfers in football history, tell me that that isn't a bargain. Ignoring the top 2, which is Kylian Mbappe and Neymar, who are obviously successes. Felipe Coutinho, 135 million euros. João Felix, 127 million euros. Enzo Fernandez, 121 million euros. Eden Hazard, 120 million euros. Jack Grealish, 117. Griezmann, 120. Cristiano Ronaldo, 117 to Juventus. Declan Rice, 116 million. Moises Caicedo, 116 million. The list goes on. 100 million euros for a player like Gyökeres is a bargain. What is an even bigger bargain is the fact that Sporting got him for Coventry for £22 million. And of course, Coventry are going to get that sell-on fee. But what I can't understand is people saying, oh, Gyökeres is going to leave in a cut price deal for 63 million. Why? Why would we take less when we know we can get 100 million? When you should be paying 100 million for a caliber of that player. If you're paying 120 million for João Felix, then Gyökeres is at least double that. Are you telling me that Gyökeres is only worth 5 million more euros than Antony? Look, I've said my piece about Gyökeres. I believe he is the best striker in the world, and I think he improves any team he goes into, maybe apart from someone like a Bayern Munich, who obviously got Harry Kane, or Barcelona, who've got Lewandowski, but Lewandowski coming to the end of his career now. Gyökeres showed Haaland who the best Nordic striker was last night, and it wasn't the guy who's been tearing the Premier League apart. It's been the guy tearing the Portuguese league apart. Man United, if you want Gyökeres, going to take 100 million. If we do a cut price deal, if Sporting President Varandas does a cut price deal on the Gyökeres, anything less than 100 million is a bad deal. You could get 200 million. Come on, maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration, but 100 million, 85 million pounds is ridiculous. He is worth a lot more than that, in my opinion. Enough about Viktor Gyökeres. Last night, talk about Giovanni Kenda, 17 years of age, on the brightest stage. Pressure makes diamonds, and Giovanni Kenda is a diamond. What a player. Great ball progression, great one-on-one defending. He's really got it all at 17 years of age, and every time I watch him, he improves, and that is crazy to say. At that age, I was sat playing like Grand Theft Auto 5 and, playing pro clubs and stuff like that, and Giovanni's having great performances against one of the best teams of all time. Crazy stuff. Not to mention Pedro Gonçalves. Pedro Gonçalves is one of my favourite players of all time for Sporting. He is 100% a Sporting legend. He was fantastic yesterday. That through ball to Maxi Araujo was absolutely fantastic. He was doing that all game. That pass that Gyökeres did a little chip on as well from Pedro Gonçalves. Pedro Gonçalves is such a great player. It's a miracle we still have him at our club. He is Mr. Reliable. He is consistently scoring goals, getting assists. He is just phenomenal. Words could not describe Pedro Gonçalves and his impact for Sporting. Like I said, a Sporting legend, and he just continues to get better and better, which is just crazy to say. And also, you look at players like Diamonde, great game yesterday. Smooth on the ball, great defending. The Bast as well, great interception, great passing. Got guys I mentioned earlier, Maxi Araujo scoring the goal. Just a fantastic overall team performance. Trincao, Franco, Israel, keeping Haaland and keeping everyone out. An absolutely great team performance yesterday. And what more can be said about Ruben Amorim? On his last dance for Sporting, he goes out as a hero. No one thought he would beat City, let alone 4-1. And the new Sir Alex, as he said he'd be called if he beat Man City. You know, who knows? I don't think he'll replicate that. Obviously, one of the greatest managers, if not the greatest manager of all time. Maybe up there with Pep Guardiola. Who knows? But yeah, this is a bit of a mess of a video, to be honest. I know it was sort of split into two parts, which was the Sporting game and the League of Portugal in general. But I think it's time we put some respect on the League of Portugal. It's developed great players, great managers, great results in the last few years. But of course, just over the span of, you know, the Portuguese league. Like I mentioned, even 10, 20 years ago, Jose Mourinho winning the Champions League with Porto and Benfica getting to European finals as well. I've not witnessed that as a Sporting fan. Well, actually, I have. In 2004, 2005, when we lost to CSK Moscow. I don't really remember it that much. I was only, I think, 6 or 5. So that one is a bit of a lost memory for me, I suppose. But hopefully I'll get to witness that again in my lifetime. Who knows? But yeah, put some respect on League of Portugal. On a personal note, I just hit 600 subscribers. So thank you very much, everyone who subscribed, who watched my last videos on Amorim and Man United. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to try and focus more a bit on that whilst the window is here and whilst the hype is there for Amorim, of course. But hopefully over the next coming months or weeks or so, I'm going to make more videos about League of Portugal. Hopefully get you guys more interested and more in the know about League of Portugal, because I do think it is such a fantastic league, such a great league. Has so many controversies as well. It is crazy. But yeah, I have a goal and it is a huge one, but I would appreciate any help towards it. I want to see if I can hit 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I've already gained sort of 400 subscribers in the last 2 weeks. Can we do that again with what, a month and a half almost left to go of this year? I would be eternally grateful. I already am eternally grateful for all the support I've had. Thank you everyone that shared my videos on social media as well. I appreciate you all. Can we get to 1,000 subscribers? I don't know, but please try and help me get there. I've been Sam Sega. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Peace.